Right. Buenas noches. Good old JC here. And tonight's podcast is called GRIMY. And it's really just talking about the state of affairs in our country with something very specific and germane, shall I say, to a lot of average people, the rank and file, the bulk of Americans. All right. And it's the inflation thing. Obviously, gas twice as much as it was in recent times. Okay. And you have to understand, if you've been paying attention, that from 96, 97, 98 on up until 2004, I believe it was. I'm sorry, 2005. When Katrina hit, you're talking about gas being anywhere from $1 to a couple bucks a gallon. And this is, this is a 10 plus year period, right? Where that's what it was. And for it to go from that range to now, we're north of 5. So what this is, people, is a threshold that they tried to blow by us when it hit, I guess it was 4 a gallon when Katrina happened. And that was seen as a tipping point. And, they backed, and I say they, those that control the price, backed way off of it. And you have to understand that when you purchase a gallon of gas, it's got multiple, taxes applied to each gallon, a fairly substantial percentage. Most of it is for your local transit. Most of the tax goes to, your city's local transit system, things of that nature. There's a specific, routing for them. But many would argue here in Dallas that mass transit, it's not that really kind of town. It's not really that kind of a town. But again, that's an argument for a different day. They backed off of that, and we saw it dip below 2, and then come in somewhere north of 2 for a while, for a long time, right? And it used to be that, you would have regular, mid-grade, supreme, and there would be a 10 cents, there would be a dime difference, as you went up at levels of octane. Right? Well, not anymore, man. No. And I know that because despite my grimy nature and this grimy podcast, all right, and this grimy ass domicile that I live in, right? My vehicle uses Supreme. Everybody has a BMW knows, but you gotta be good to them. You gotta be good to a BMW. They are good to you in terms of being just the most fun, athletic fucking cars to drive, right? But you gotta be good to them. So that involves putting in Supreme, the highest grade up. And that's not, like I said, it's no longer a dime difference between regular, mid-grade, Supreme. Twice as more for Supreme than it is regular. No, they've stretched that out as well. And this is something that is very transparent because it's a commodity. Okay, it's a commodity. It's commodity. It's oil and gas. It's on a street level, things like weed. There's a standard. It's called a commodity because there's a standard value for it that's understood for X amount of whatever this commodity is. Market value, right? Well, there's no hiding and jacking that up. You just, you just jack it up and then everybody accepts it. It's a line of demarcation, okay? They've gotten us over and they've gotten us over this $5 line, right? And it's, oh my God, out west, this show is done from Dallas, Texas. Out west, higher. Out east, higher. Ridiculous, right? They've got us over this threshold, and they're just going to kind of, we're kind of here now, and we're not backing off of it. Everybody adjust, right? And not only does something like gas that you use a lot of every day, depending on your commute, depending on how much you drive, depending on if you're in transportation business, and not only that, plastic materials, if you have anything in plastic in your house, okay, those are made from petroleum. All right, so you like goods and services shipped and shit, in plastic, right? Again, this all directly correlates, okay? When those commodities go up in price, it's just generally accepted and pushed past. Now, the petroleum is so, gas is so large in that we're kind of waiting for, the government to step in and say, hey, listen, we've got reserves, let's lighten the load. Well, then you get the two argument side of it. Well, it's a subsidy. And if something's a subsidy, it takes us a step closer to, European socialism type government where everybody's locked in. I forgot the name of the book. I want to say it was an Orwell book. It wasn't 1984, but it was a book where everybody was just equalized out, right? Where they just, if you had any kind of a gift, they just knocked you down, okay? Physical or whatever. Like it was a dystopian book. And it's more reflective of an extreme example of what those in control, and i.e. the government, can't do in the power that they wield over us. When gas and stuff starts to go up, okay, it's not just the amount that you're spending on gas, all right? Because when gas is cheaper, particularly in a place like Texas or California, people not only do they go more places and cover more ground leisurely, when they do so, they spend money. Okay, so there's that, right? And if they're not going out and spending money, you're losing tax revenue there as well, locally or within the state or wherever. Just when gas is cheaper, man, like you'll make longer trips and won't even think about it. Okay. And when you make those trips, everybody knows when you go on the road, man, you spend money. That road shit's expensive, man. No matter what you're doing. All right. And so you have that aspect of it. And what the bulk of people will do, okay, is, they'll tighten their belts and absorb it and budget a little bit more wisely. Everybody's got a pie graph, right? In terms of what it is that they spend, their money on every month, monthly expenditures. And people have varying degrees of importance and percentages in the pie graph, essentials, so forth. People look at essentials differently. The bulk of Americans look at essentials as simply that. And their pie graph consists of expenses for their children, gas, obviously, part of the pie graph, food, rent, shelter. Just trying to make it, man, right? Then you got those of us that have other shit in our pie graphs, right? Like me, my sons are all adults, right? So I've got other shit in my pie graph. X fucking amount every month. And probably a little bit of brown liquor as well. And you saw me smoking fucking cigarettes. All right. Makes everybody's pie graph a little bit different, man. And it's invariably, whoever's hit wherever in terms of what portion of their non-gas, non-transportation, petroleum, or purchasing of plastic products, pie graph is situated. When it starts to push other stuff off, okay, That's when you hear the noise. I don't know what the noise will do. It's just a mad world we live in terms of, and when I say noise, I mean protests, things of that nature, of people, so to speak, disdain towards the current state of affairs. And in America, we can protest and all these sort of things and make our displeasure known, and that. And what's interesting is that it's not only, and I say interesting, and I'm being fucking nice when I say that. All right, it's not fucking interesting. It's fucked up, is what it is. In addition to, and this is why I wanted to speak about commodities. Commodities being what they are, it's X amount for X amount of gold, X amount of bacon, X amount of, you know what I mean, weed, whatever. Okay? Generally, no. All right? But there are other things in a free enterprise system that you have variance and choice on. They sell these some bitches for about $21 a case. All right? Now, if you're into Heineken's, or something else, or one of these, Lakewood, IPA craft fucking joints. All right. This could be more. So there's variance there. And it's just up to you as the consumer to choose where you're going to spend your money and what satisfies your needs. Okay. Now let's revert back to commodities. You also have large companies, all right, like fast food chains. And when you see the economy going bad, man, there are specific ways that these motherfuckers get down. Specific, different fucking ways than the way that they were getting down in terms of quality. Now, here's the thing. McDonald's, easy target, right? Fast food. For all the crap they take, McDonald's will just say, you know what? We're raising the price. Our stuff costs more now. But it's the same stuff that you've been getting. Whereas Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, that, little consortium, and they're not the only ones. I don't mean to single them out. They start building their quote unquote cheesy chalupas being more built around lettuce. Okay. And there's less focus on meat and cheese, a little bit more focus on lettuce. Right. And you see it, which is just blatant, staring you in the face. And today, I went to Jack in the Box. And I like Jack in the Box. And look, man, and this is not only happening at Jack in the Box, this is happening at sit-down restaurants for me too here lately, man. They're serving you old shit. They're fucking serving you old shit. Oh, yeah, it's hot and fresh. You shook that up just now. It's been fucking sitting out, since the fucking beginning lunch shift. And you know what I mean? You're at, whatever time of the day you're at, it's 4 hours in, just kind of hanging out, meat and shit like that. I'm telling you, the burger I ate today, man, I was like, this is substandard. This is some old substandard. This is not a particularly stout, beefy taste that I normally would associate with a bacon double cheeseburger, right? Jack in the Box, bacon ultimate cheeseburger, I believe it is. Taco Bell, those guys, they just skimp on stuff, the good stuff, the stuff you like, right? Keep the prices the same. Jack in the Box keeps the prices the same, but they're selling you old burgers, all right? The food has been sitting around longer, or they have been reticent, shall we say, to dispose of food in terms of the nature of its actual shelf life. Let's just hang on that a little bit longer. All right, I'm telling you, man, people pull up a drive-through right now. Just let's hang on to that for a little bit longer, okay? Let's just hold on to that for a little bit longer. Trust me, it'll move, right? And I'm not gonna not notice something like that. I would say most people, are not going to not notice if that's fucking confusing enough for you. You're gonna notice this shit. And even if you don't outwardly think about it and say something about it, you hear somebody like me or somebody say somebody, and you're like, yeah, that's right. That kind of sucks. A lot of fucking cigarette I heard the other day. Jesus, man. Lasted about half the fucking amount of time that they normally last. Right? Just little shit like that, man. I'm telling you. And when you see that as consumers, as Americans, as citizens, so to speak, that they really just kind of want us to fade all this. And I keep saying it's not like there's, but people in power, government, or wealth, okay, they are much more able to fade these increases because of their income, and many of them have a stake in the business being done with these products in terms of, in other words, they make money off the commodities. Okay, so you know what? If they got to spend a little more for gas, sucks for you. And again, anytime there was an increase on, like, say, a sin tax for cigarettes or something like that, or there's an increase on the price, okay, of said commodity, there's an incremental piece of it that's built in that's going to the government as kind of a rider, if you will. Yeah, Marlboros were $7.50 this week. They're $8.39 now. Well, it's not just the Marlboro people getting the money. All right. And so these things are counter to the greater good because there are fewer, obviously, right? Fewer super wealthy people or people that can just straight up fade it. I got it like that. I'm not tripping. That's why we view them as ballers or so forth. And I've been one. I'm not now, but I do drive a BMW, and a few years ago I'm not tripping. I can fade it. No big deal, right? And stuff happens, and you get to a point to where it's a little bit more like when you were younger, and you can't fade shit. Part of that big sliding scale, young, poor, and then anyway. And when that happens, there's the pushback from the consumer, not just simply in the, fight the power, let's make a lot of noise about it. At a rudimentary level, you really start wanting to get what you paid for. Like whatever it is that you paid for, right? You're not looking for a substandard version of it. And it extends into little things. And as I said before, on a rudimentary level, in dealing with those that are in the exchange of these goods, services, or whatever, as prices go up or whatever, you have the representatives, i.e. the cashiers, salespeople, people that you are engaging that are, moving said commodity, unless it's a straight, buy directly from the manufacturer, distributor, that kind of thing. Unless you're just dealing with, that dude. You're dealing with a large a company, even if it's not a massive, huge retailer, et cetera, it's still multiple employees, okay, moving parts, that kind of thing. that you have to deal with, right? And so they are cogs in the machine. Like I said, unless you're talking to the owner that can sit up there and tell you, all right, I'll knock this off of this for that. There are cogs in the machine. This is the price. That's, and they're trying to take it through your order. And that's the price. So on their end, they're not as invested in it being the representative, even though they are invested in it. They are invested in the company doing well, no doubt about it. Make no mistake about it, man. Everybody works on commission, even if you get paid by the hour. It's got to be within the budget to fade this section of labor. So essentially, right, ostensibly, as I like to say, you've got to see the inner workings of the machine, and it makes sense to you. Okay? It makes complete sense to you. And it's been a rough couple of years for a lot of people, man. A lot. Not just me. A lot, man. A lot of people. Bad shit, man. It's the direction that it's going in terms of the money, the economy, the taxes, the heavy regulation, it's I think municipalities like writing tickets, they like taking people to jail. I think that's a money thing too. More and more. And that's what we're seeing. Because let's face it, money root of all evil, money will cure all your problems, blah, 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 blah. But I'm telling you, man, and I promise you, most everybody out there feels the same way. One of the first things, if, now I don't play the lottery or anything like that, but if I came up with something or made it, got a big sack of dough from an invention, a sale, making it big, whatever the case may be, right? If I came into I'm talking about a massive sum, big sum. Is it life-changing? You goddamn right it is. I'm up out of here. Y'all get a look at the back of my head and the fucking soles of my feet. All right? The last time we saw him, man, that motherfucker was leaving. What was he was just out. Dude just bounced. He was gone. He was out. I'm telling you, that would be me. Not everybody would handle it that way, but yeah, man, I'm out. Man, fuck all y'all. I got dough. I'm out. I don't have a forwarding address. And so, everything is about money, certainly in our day-to-day existence. And it's a fluid situation, okay? And there used to be a lot more common sense and honor and commitment to quality in regards to what we're charging for goods and services, here in this country. And the type of quality that we're giving in our service, or the actual goods themselves, anything outside of commodities, that's where it's like I said, man, it's wide ass open. You go with what you like, and you've got your reasons for it. And whatever the product is, it may start out with its base cost being based in whatever the commodity is, wheat, in this case, barley. But then from there, it's like I said, you got Miller Lite, you got all these IPAs, you got Heineken, all kinds of shit. Okay, and so you can take it from there with all these tentacles anywhere you want to go. So it's a fluid situation in terms of once you get into those types of very specified, very personal, eating products that you buy, service from service providers that you would expect, and not, it's like, again, And I really don't give a rat's ass at this point who I piss off. I went to Uptown Clinic. I thought this is great, man. You know, I spent about a yard on a visit. When I go all the way up to my doctor in Plano, I'm in Uptown. A lot of times I don't feel like fucking with it. I'm not making a lot of trips up there anyway. All right. I had a need because of an injury. And so I said, oh, Uptown Clinic, that's cool. You know, it's only a few bucks more for a doctor's visit. Nice and official. Because it was job-related injury, right? But I wasn't looking to collect workers' comp or anything like that. I just needed to make sure I was all right and that, you know, I was clear to get back at it, you know, get back to work. And so I go there, and it's the name of the clinic, man, City Doc. City Doc. City Doc. Doc. Doc is very prominent it's a prominent syllable in the name of the company. City Doc. So I went there and dropped more than I would have from going to Plano. But cool, you know, man, it's time, it's gas, whatever. Time, gas, expenditure. It's much more convenient for me to go within foot distance, right? City Doc. Remember that. Doc. $100 for a doctor's visit. Well, we never said doctor's visit. Well, I said I needed to get a doctor's note to get cleared to go back to work. Just, you know. No, we said it was an office visit at City Doc. You'll see it. You drop 100 and you don't see a doctor. See a nurse practitioner. I think Andrew Dice Clay really was very specific in terms of the difference between a nurse and a doctor. Okay? Pretty fucking big. All I can say is a nurse is not a fucking doctor. I'm going to leave it at that. There is a delineation there. There's a difference in terms of their standing in the medical community in terms of being an authority, diagnoses, on and on and on. So, in addition to that, they blow up your phone and email. Oh, yeah, you know, we're looking after you. And by the time I go through all that, I'm miffed because I'm like, well, I would have, the person that up in Plano, I know it's a bitch and yeah, it's gas. I mean, it's, $5 or so or whatever in gas, $5-10 in gas. And time is a bitch. But like, this person's an actual doctor, an actual physician. All right. But our city doc, right? Our city doc. $100 nurse visit. Now, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit in the $100 nurse visit. Some can, be geared other some could be geared other directions that are not really medical at all. And $100, in that's probably do pretty good. Probably would rather have a nurse visit at that rate for that type of entertainment service, if you will. Although, like, if the doctor was like, hey, look, man, doctors could be females too. And the doctor was like real hot and shit. Yeah, man. At $100, you're in the building. I don't mean to digress. But what I'm saying is that in some ways, in some regards, right? And oh my God, it's not look, they're just churning them out. Okay. But there are these hoity-toity sons of bitches around here, right? It's like, hey, how much for a doctor's visit? $500. Oh, okay. Well, you could join our plan where you pay a lot quarterly, and it's still $400 per visit, but you pay, we're your fucking healthcare provider finder clearinghouse or whatever. And but we need you to enroll in this fucking plan first, right? And that and so many levels. There's so many levels. I even like, okay, so I don't want to get good old days syndrome. Seriously, for real, I don't. All right, but it's things changing is not always for the better. I've run my own business, done my own thing, worked for companies large and small. Okay, varied and sundried employment experience, and when I was going to say, when working for someone else, where they make the rules, if you will show up on time every day, be polite, be professional, and work hard, you're going to be all right. But believe it or not, people, if you do your own thing, same shit. Same thing. So, when you have to be on your shit, when you need to approach, there are arrangements in life that you need to approach in good faith. Certainly employment is one of them. Probably the major one, that you have to approach it in good faith. You be honest, what they're asking for, what your pay is, all that's hammered out. You go into it with good faith. You don't fuck around. You show up on time. You work hard. You're polite, and you're professional. You should be okay at the salary that you came in at. It's not even about raises, right? Well, there are so many places that these marketing services where they're just very vague about the job, and then you find out what it is, and you're like, oh, okay, I got to stand inside of fucking Walmart and ask people when I go by, hey, who's your internet provider? That's the job. We got fucking ping pong tables and pool tables and fucking espresso machines and ESPN on big TVs and cool ass fucking leather furniture, and everybody's young and the chicks all got big tits. Oh yeah, man, we're this cool ass marketing company. Look what we got going. Motherfuckers are playing pool. ESPN on. Chicks with big tits. Cool furniture. Okay, great, man. Yeah, okay, yeah. I definitely, I want to be a part of this, man. For sure. Not knowing, going through, a couple of days of shit. And it's like, hey, man, if y'all would have told me this was trying to sell people siding at Walmart, I would have not disparaged the position or the effort, but I would not have taken part in it. That's what y'all do. It's what y'all want to do. It's how you want to get down, man. Cool. If that's the nature of the job, I mean, because you take people through a couple of days, and I promise you, what these fucking people's numbers are telling them. Well, you have some people that will go into it with good faith, and it might not be what they thought it was, but the cream will rise to the top, and 100% of the people this is the key, 100% of the people that we don't put into the training program never make it for us as employees. So you put as many of them motherfuckers in there as you can, right? Some of them will stick, hopefully. Some of them do and are successful. I get that. I had a real bad experience working with a one-man kind of a show, but it was supposed to be this big company, but without getting into details about it, it was just, there were so many red flags, man. It was a ruse. It was at least in those big cattle call throwing out of a net things. If you're built for, asking people, and fucking Walmart, if they want to see you do a fucking OxyClean demonstration or whatever the fuck, hey man, no problem from me on that. Not gonna disparage that. Just not gonna do it. At least that's an honest living, and it's pretty cut and dried. But when you work in a field that's very, very, very people-driven, service, and a lot of moving parts, and you're generally being trained by one guy who's in the position, i.e. a logistics or operations manager, somebody at the heart of something, at the heart of an entire operation, right? So you're really kind of training around a guy who's that guy right now, okay, if you're going to step into that position. So it's just an incredible commitment, right? And I saw all these signs, just too many to name. And of course, end up not working out. And that was by design. So you've got we're talking about employment, we're talking about gas, we're talking about food, we're talking about all this stuff that we deal with every day, that we have to deal with. Or, look, man, throw weed in there too, whatever. Beer, whiskey, smokes. Whatever, throw that in there. But all the shit that we deal with, right? It's being leaned on. And obviously, those in power in Washington, it's not really that much of a big deal for them because they got it like that money-wise. Your higher paid people have it like that money-wise, and politicians can't worm out of it with tax loopholes, not from their political earnings, but business owners can fade the short term and then swerve out of it at the end. Not always, because that's a big block of small business owners that are in the $250 magic number, $250,000 tax range, which is that group is hit pretty hard. They can fade it. It becomes harder and harder for cats like us, just the regular working cats that like to, occasionally ingest carcinogens, pound beers, and the rest, right? That pie graph that I was talking about, everybody has a different one. That pie graph, man, that circle is like this. It's finite. And then something inside the pie graph, right, moves in an aggressive fashion, disrupting the more stable facets of your economic monthly pie graph. All right? You're going to feel it, man. You're going to notice it, and beyond that, the whole money thing and that which is on the whole is the bad part. The residual effect is it's like a fucking cancer. It's like a cancerous fucking polyp. All right, burgeoning in various orifices or whatever, and they're growing and getting tentacles of bad shit, reaching out and fucking touching, in bad ways with its tentacles. Which gas is, gas has got several bad ones. And as I said before, you like stuff. Yeah, is there anything do you use for plastics at all? A part of you ever encounter plastics? Does anybody out there ever have stuff, I don't know, maybe wrapped in plastic, shipped in plastic, made of plastic? Yeah. All right. Damn right we do. All of us do. So now that progressively grows up to it's cause and effect. And we're in Dallas, man. We love conspiracy theories. Okay, we love them. So this kind of shit is right up, is right in my wheelhouse, right? In terms of, trying to get the big picture. And so in conspiracy, you need people to be complicit. And they can, it's almost like a RICO thing. They can be complicit, right, without having a quote unquote, which you would think is a direct connection, i.e., I said it was kind of like a RICO thing. It's exactly like a RICO thing. And of course, what I'm talking about is the media. Now, all I can say, man, is that I don't know. And that's the thing. You're not going to know. Like I've heard, and I would think some motherfucker would be out there with a camera somewhere. All right. But I've heard talks of people in the industry that, I've been primarily in my adult life, and it's really, transportation is like in my blood. But my grandpas were pilots and father worked on the railroad. So like transportation is just logistics and shit. It's just kind of what we do. Making things happen. So, I don't know if it's valid or not, but I've heard about there being people in the transportation industry and protest and so forth. Now, my instincts tell me that there would somebody be there with a camera and say, look, check this out, right? Whether it be local news affiliate or, just any jackass with a fucking phone, it will be picked up somewhere. Now, in regards to that, okay, yeah, they're not missing any of that, but when people go to the news, okay, particularly your, because print media is damn near fucking dead. When you go to your radio, television, internet, that kind of thing, and these stories in the news cycle, right? It's the more they change, the more they stay the same. They're still relatively the same fucking stories. Okay, the big news, right? Well, that stuff can be easily steered and driven away from what's really going on. If it's not, a specific group suffering and being targeted, okay, which makes the news more salacious and more inflammatory, it's very easily, okay, an issue of importance to a fairly sizable number of people can be pushed to the side, rerouted. They can feed you other shit. They can all avoid it, right? And it can also be viewed as bad news. And, you don't want your whole news to, you don't want the entirety of your newscast to be just bad. Now, me, okay, I'm used to that, right? Like I see the way these, news outfits try to jazz shit up, right? Like today, right? Like that the morning news program today, right? It's like, my ex was into that. Well, it's happy. It's happy, and for me, it's like, nah, I want to watch Fox, and I want to hear shit like tensions rose in the South China Seas today. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear about fucking up next. We talk about capri pants and matching canvas tennis shoes. And we're going to have a celebrity chef on, and we're going to cook something with jicama in it. Jicama. Again, that's not for me. All right. But the way that news is being relayed to you, okay, is changing, obviously. And again, as I said before, a wide scale conspiracy is not likely in terms of the media being complicit as it relates to gas prices, because I mean, they're all leading with this stuff right now. Gas hits, whatever the fuck it's going to be tomorrow, a gallon, right? But there are, as I said before, there are tentacles from that thing. You can hit and run it. You can just do a hit and run, and see, look at us, we're responsible. We're doing it. We've talked about gas prices. We didn't do a long segment on it, but we mention it every day. Okay. Well, again, as I said before, a lot of tentacles, man. There's tentacles there. People go and get around and move around when gas is less expensive, especially in places like Texas and California that are more spread out. Again, plastic products, shipping, services that are in the transportation business or rely on transportation as part of their service industry. I'm telling you, there's definitely a domino effect, because then they're going to raise their prices. Or this fucking restaurant I used to work at, man, that I love their food so much, in fact, that I have been back over there many times since I no longer work there. And they'll never see me there again. A couple of weeks ago, I was really hungry and wanted something specific. That is what I always do when I go to a restaurant, man. I'm not going to get fucking a burger or soft tacos or fucking salad. I'm going to order something, man, where they're going to have to fucking, it's going to be enchiladas or lasagna or, something that's good that they're going to put some fucking effort into that I don't feel like fucking with at home. All right. I'm going to get something good, and I'm going to be looking forward to it. And this shit was so bad I couldn't even eat it. And it had been, that stuff, it could have been sitting out for 2 days. I was just saying 12 to 24 hours, man. But it was ridiculous last time. I go into it. I want to throw any, small business owner on the bus. But what I'm talking about is the overall decline in quality, increase in scams in every facet, right? And the commodities are, it's all tied together. As commodities grow up, then everything that's affected by them is going to go up as well. We know that, right? But I think that there's a sense in commodities, particularly gasoline. You talk about the regulation and the massive taxes, and those that are against drilling and those that are for drilling, and whatever your stance on that is. There's a feeling amongst the American people that, look, there's a big hand on the lever, and it's government, whomever, whatever, power brokers or whatever, and they need to be regulated and dealt with. They got to get off this fucking $6 a gallon, gas shit. It's a killer. Again, as I've said before, you can tap the reserves, but again, if you do that, there are going to be those that have their own quote unquote well-reasoned arguments as to why we shouldn't. But this is the obvious move in terms of what something that could actually be proactively done by government, and you kind of get a chance. You kind of get a real sense in terms of how government works. Okay. There are things that they have to do in terms of infrastructure that they're going to, that they'll do the job on. But when it comes to them taking over something, and I'm not talking about seizing the oil and gas industry, like your boy Fat Ass did down in Venezuela. Oh, that shit's ours now, man. Fuck y'all. But exerting leverage or a greater degree of control or alienating these large business owners and businesses that have massive tax bases, okay, by saying, hey, man, hey, look, that's cool, man. We tax the fuck out of y'all, but we're going to infuse, look, this $5 shit. Fuck that. We're going to infuse some, those that don't have off-site drilling or are not involved in trading of oil from overseas or the direct drilling of it, the locals, okay, that will buy it and be able to do so in a way that shifts the entire price of the said commodity, stated commodity. They're not like that. So again, someone's ox is always being gored. And I promise you, government at all, government and the rest of them. If you want to link the power brokers, the guys and gals that fund powerful lobbies in whatever industry it may be, pharmaceutical, petroleum, whatever, right? You certainly can, because they are working together. And that's why you get some people say, oh, yeah, you can't blame the government for that. But they're involved. There's involvement there. So, again, it's a problem. And my fear, and hopefully I'm not just being negative, because when we hit the $4 shit, I guess, in 2005, people were like, nah, not going to happen. That seemed to be the tipping point. We seemed to back away from it. And of course, if you'll remember, a few years later in 2008, the bottom fell out for pretty much all of us in terms of the housing market collapse. Watch The Big Short. Genius fucking movie. I've watched it every time I've ever seen it on anywhere ever. I saw evidence of a lot of watering down of quality by some, whereas others would just say, look, man, this is what we do. We're just going to raise commodity itself costs more. We're going to raise the price. Whereas there's other cats that, oh, we got this 5 for 5. Look at these deals we have. Misleading fucking pictures of their products. And yeah. And when things are bad, right? That like, this is a corporate push or an independent franchisee's decision, so to speak, hey, listen, we've got this new system. Yeah. Instead of building sandwiches around, the wonderful cheeses and meats and so forth that are normally associated with sandwiches, we're putting a lot less emphasis on that and more emphasis on fucking mustard and fucking lettuce and shit like that. We're making that push. Which, like I said, man, you're already fucking broke, struggling, and then you go get something that you're used to it being something and you pay the same price, and it's not the same fucking thing. It's not. No one will know. Don't worry about it. No one's going to know. And to get away with it, man, look, this has been the Jiasone, Kane, South, Uptown podcast. I go live because I'm such a technological idiot that it's really the only way I can get a continuous video out. I have to go live. And yeah, man, the setup is grimy, but this fucking show is grimy. I'm grimy. All right. Right now, a lot of us are grimy, man. We're more grimy than we realize. So, I could get neon lights and shit and deer heads and cool ass posters, and I'm just not going to do it. I'm not. I'm going to be grimy. Show's grimy. I'm going to be grimy. And I'm going to talk about grimy shit. So I don't know when the hour will return, but I would start to look out for it more frequently. The 2 to 3 to 4 to maybe 5, 6 that can breeze by it or have listened or watched, because we're going to get this thing going in terms of, and when I say we, I don't have a production crew, it's just me. We at the podcast are going to get this shit going, man, to where we're going to crack out a lot of content and talk about a lot of stuff, man, because, and a lot of pertinent right now type shit. Because it's just fucked up out here right now, man. On a lot of levels, it's fucked up. So doesn't mean we're going to scapegoat anybody, but you know, we're going to talk about everything that's happening right the fuck now. That's crazy big go right fucking now. So anyway, y'all have a good night. You'll excuse me. I've got to maybe have another beer, possibly consider masturbating, perhaps some video games. I don't know. A lot to think about there. But we'll see y'all next time. And yeah, this next part, like, I have my fucking glasses on, so, right? Like, so, not only am I technologically fucking illiterate, I'm starting to go blind in my old age, but great of you to join tonight. We're working feverishly on more stuff, and the content is easily provided from the nature of this insane fucking country we live in right now. So we will be back soon. You guys enjoy. The fucking thing fucking up. Fucking flipped. That because you gotta ask me this fuck.